Hello everyone. Back again with film recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the horror mystery films from 2017, titled Pyewacket. Before we get to the storyline, I'd like to wish everyone a happy and great day. Without further ado, let's get straight to the storyline. The movie opens in a forest, where a girl is heard chanting a spell and performing a ritual to summon someone. The scene then cuts to a high school, where we meet a teenage girl, Leah, and her best friend, Janice. After the classes, Leah gets into a car with her friend Erin. It seems they have a crush on each other, and Erin drops her off at her house. Later, we see Leah having dinner with her mom. The atmosphere seems very gloomy, and they don't exchange a word while eating. Inside her room, Leah starts watching her picture with Erin while smiling. We also notice several satanic symbols in her room, implying that she is fascinated by black magic and occult practices. Moments later, Leah hears her mom crying in another room, but mom tells her to get out. Leah takes the opportunity to ask if she can go for a book signing tonight, but the woman responds that Leah can do whatever she wants, and she doesn't care. Afterward, Leah, Janice, Erin and their other friend Rob arrive at a book signing by an author named Rowan Dove. He is an expert in the occult, and has written a famous book. Leah wishes he would go into more detail about the rituals in his book, but Rowan warns her that what is written is enough, and advises her to be careful when following such rituals. After the book signing, Leah and her friends discuss the occult book. Rob reads a passage from the book that states that the devil's role is not to create evil, but to expose the evil in people's hearts and test their loyalty to God. Meanwhile, Janice suddenly remarks how people idolize their parents, but in reality, they're just humans who make mistakes and mess up. Everyone agrees with her, and Leah finds herself thinking deeply about the statement. Later, Erin drives Leah home again, and he tries to make a move on her, but he gets too nervous, so Leah exits the car. Upon returning home, Leah finds her mom angry about her coming home late. The woman claims that she knows when the book signing ended, and scolds her daughter for being reckless. But this seems to snap Leah, and she reveals how abandoned she has been feeling, as her mother has been distraught since her father's death, and barely notices her. Upon hearing this, mom tearfully says that she is trying her best to move on. She has now decided to sell the house and relocate, because this place reminds her of her late husband. But Leah doesn't take the news well, as she's reluctant to leave her life and friends behind. In her room, Leah has an outburst while playing loud satanic music. She later opens the occult book, and begins reading it, which seems to calm her. The next morning, when Leah wakes up, she finds her mom in a better mood than the past few days. Mom says they're going to see their new house today, and that she'll pick Leah up after school. Once she leaves for work, Leah heads to her mom's room, and checks under the bed to see what's hidden there. She finds several pictures of her dad, which makes her feel very emotional. Later, at school, Leah informs her friends that she is moving somewhere else, which makes them very upset. Afterward, Leah and her mom are on their way to their new house, which is on the outskirts of town. It's located in the middle of the woods, in an isolated area, which Leah doesn't really like. Days later, we see the family moving into their new house, and settling in. On the way to school, Leah questions mom about her job, and she reveals that she can work from home. She also suggests Leah attend a new school, but the agitated teenager claims she doesn't want to leave her friends behind. Hearing this, the mother is willing to let her stay, and drive Leah to and from school, even if it means a 2-hour drive each way. After school, Leah is about to hang out with her friends, but gets annoyed when her mom arrives to pick her up. She then apologizes to her friends, and angrily gets into the car. Upon returning home, the mother and daughter get into a tense argument. Mom doesn't support Leah's interest in the occult, but the girl reveals that it's her only source of comfort since her father died. In response, mom tearfully admits that it's difficult for her to move on because every time she looks at Leah, she sees her father's face. She wishes she could just wipe away Leah's face, which deeply hurts the girl's feelings. In her rage, Leah runs to the woods, and begins kicking a tree while wishing her mother was dead. Moments later, she comes up with an idea, and immediately returns home. She takes out the occult book, and writes a ritual on a piece of paper. Leah then grabs her mom's hairbrush and takes some of her hair from it. Afterward, she collects other items, including milk and a bowl, and heads back to the woods. Leah finds a circle of trees, hits a tree 3 times with a stone, and begins reciting an incantation. She then ties a red rope around the trees and summons an evil entity called Pyewacket.
Pyewacket.
Afterward, Leah cuts her arm, mixes the blood with the milk, and buries it with her mom's hair in the ground. It's clear that she has performed the ritual to summon Pyewacket and asked it to kill her mom. After the ritual is completed, we can see that something begins to follow her. Following this, Leah returns home and immediately cleans up her wound to avoid suspicion. But during dinner, her arm starts bleeding again. This worries Mom, so she rushes her to the bathroom to treat the wound. Mom realizes that Leah hurt herself, so she tearfully apologizes for what she said earlier, and assures Leah that she didn't mean it. They hug each other and reconcile, while Leah gets scared about what's going to happen next. The next morning, Leah wakes up early and heads downstairs. She is shocked to discover that the front door is open, with dry leaves and soil scattered inside, so she immediately cleans it up before her mom wakes up. Leah then checks on her mom and is relieved to see that she is peacefully sleeping. In the afternoon, the two head to town and come across an antique store. Mom asks the owner if there are any job openings that she can work on weekends. During this, Leah walks around the store, and soon comes across a card that seems to serve as a warning to Leah about her own situation. Moreover, she already regrets her actions from last night, realizing that she has no one else but her mother. Later, while the two are heading home, their car almost collides with another vehicle. This incident makes Leah even more worried, and she fears that the ritual might be taking effect. Upon returning home, Mom reveals that today's incident reminded her of the time when Leah's dad drove 13 hours straight on the day she was born. Mom describes how thrilled he was, and how he thanked her every day afterward for giving birth to Leah. He used to claim that Leah was the best thing that ever happened to him. Upon hearing this, the girl feels deeply touched, and we see a smile on her face for the first time in a while. Later, around midnight, Leah is sleeping peacefully in her room, when she is woken up by a loud thud in the attic. She begins hearing footsteps and loud banging, which scares her shitless. Leah thus wakes her mom up, and claims that there's someone else in the house. Mom says she can't hear anything, but Leah is sure she heard the footsteps. They both then check the attic, but there's nothing there, which leaves the girl bewildered. In the next scene, we see Leah crying because of her actions. She is fast asleep in her room, right when a shadowy figure suddenly appears in the corner of her room. It silently watches her, and approaches her during her sleep. To her horror, the following morning, she mysteriously awakens in the forest where she had performed the ritual, with her arm bleeding again. This shakes her to the core, and she immediately rushes back home to clean up the blood from her arm. In the afternoon, Leah finally reveals everything about the ritual to her friends. They are shocked that she would try to kill her own mother, and Rob even calls her psychotic. He claims that if the ritual actually worked, maybe she deserves to be haunted like this. Leah is triggered by his words and, seeing this, a concerned Janice volunteers to stay with her tonight and see what happens. In the evening, Mom expresses her delight about Leah's friend coming over. Later that night, while Leah sleeps in her room, Janice sleeps on the couch in the living room. But then, around midnight, we see a mysterious figure approaching Janice, right when she awakens. The next morning, Leah is woken up by her mom, who asks where Janice is. To their surprise, they find her in Mom's car, completely terrified and shaken. They ask her what happened, but Janice cries and pleads to be taken home. Leah invites her inside the house to talk, but her friend warns her not to touch her. Later, at school, Leah becomes extremely worried when Janice doesn't show up. She sends her numerous texts asking if she's okay, but receives no response. Hence, while heading home, Leah's mom calls Janice's mom, and she learns that Janice has locked herself in her bedroom all day. Mom then informs Leah that she will be working at the store tomorrow, and will be unable to pick her up from school. She asks Leah to take the bus, which the girl agrees to with some hesitation. Upon returning home, Leah contacts the occult book writer, Rowan Dove, and sends him an email asking for help. She soon receives a response from him, and they schedule a phone call for the next day. The following day, Rowan explains to Leah that Pyewacket is an evil entity that is now using Leah as a bridge to enter this world. He claims that once it is done with her mother, he will pursue Leah as well. Rowan claims that to return Pyewacket to its world, she must repeat the ritual in reverse, this time asking for forgiveness. He also mentions that Pyewacket has the ability to shapeshift into many forms, and may use it to try to disrupt the ritual. Following this, Leah rushes home to prepare the requirements for the reversal ritual. She senses someone following her on the way, but doesn't dare to look back. She runs as fast as she can, and, when Leah gets home, she looks for her mother's hair on the brush, but this time finds nothing. She fortunately discovers a few strands in the sink and takes them. She then gathers the other ingredients, and heads back to the forest, right before she notices her mom arriving and calling her name. The terrified girl proceeds to the forest, and arrives at the location. As usual, she hits a tree with a stone 3 times. She proceeds to tie the trees with red rope, but then is interrupted when she notices a body in the distance. Leah is horrified to discover that it is her dead mother. At this moment, she continues to hear her mom's voice calling out to her from a distance. But Leah believes it's Pyewacket. She anxiously calls 911 and reports that her mother has been found dead in the woods. However, the operator states that they can hear someone calling Leah in the background. Not knowing how to explain her situation, Leah hangs up the phone. She instead calls Aaron, asking him to come immediately and help her. After this, Leah holds a knife to protect herself. She's certain that her mom is dead, so she doesn't see the point in completing the ritual anymore. Meanwhile, in the distance, her mother's body suddenly opens its eyes. Not long after, Leah receives a text from Aaron stating that he's outside her house. She thus rushes over there, but doesn't see him anywhere. And then all of a sudden, Mom goes outside and talks in a monotone voice, asking her to come inside. Leah believes that it's Pyewacket, but she obliges to what it says. Once inside, Mom asks where she was, and why the knife is with her. Leah explains that she was in the woods, and promises to put it away. She then goes straight to her room and locks herself in. Her mother soon follows her, and aggressively demands that she open the door. In the end, Pyewacket returns to its original form, and breaks inside, causing the girl to jump out of the window. She manages to flee the house, and hides behind a tree outside. But to her horror, Pyewacket sees her, and begins relentlessly chasing her. Leah runs back into the house, and hides in the attic, hoping for help to arrive. And then, shortly after,
"Get away from me!"
her mother arrives in the attic and is shocked to see her holding a knife. Seeing her condition, Mom tries to calm her down, and takes the knife from her. Up next, Mom asks Leah what she was doing in the woods earlier, and what's going on with the knife. But Leah doesn't respond, as she's certain that this is Pyewacket, and not her mom. Later that night, Leah decides to confront Pyewacket, who is disguised as her dead mother. She sneaks out of the house, and takes a bucket of gasoline from her mother's car. She then heads to her mom's room. The girl doesn't say a word, and instead does this. Leah watches in horror as the woman screams in agony. Shortly after, Aaron arrives at the house and notices that it is on fire. He finds Leah unconscious on the ground outside, and decides to get her help. Sometime later, Leah is at the police station, where she listens to the recording of her 911 call. An officer informs her that they couldn't find her mom's body in the woods, as she claimed. They instead found her body in the house, burnt to ashes. Before the film ends, Leah is horrified to discover that she fell victim to Pyewacket's tricks, and murdered her own mother. Okay guys, thanks for watching. See you again in the next video.